Alright, y'all, channeled message from Mama Gaia, and I am also picking up on Archangel Raphael too. For some of you, you could have heavy ties. I'm hearing shamanism, medicine man. I'm seeing this one deck I have where it says the sacred bag, the crane bag. So I'm hearing something about medicine, holistic medicine, herbs, things of that nature. You could be someone who has a green thumb, someone who maybe forages, someone who's into plants, animals, trees, things of that nature. And even if you're not, I'm not an expert, but I do think that this message needs to be heard, so stick around. The true healing remedies lie within our bodies, ourselves, and nature. Now stay with me. This is not me saying, for those of you who may have been diagnosed with certain things or who may take certain medications, this is not me saying stop taking the medications and go the holistic route. But what I am saying is I feel that I'm hoping that the world is more so leading towards an approach to where spiritual medicine is intertwined, or spiritual health is intertwined with mental and physical health, because I do think that the two are interlinked, and I'm going to tell you a little bit why. But to continue the download, the energy I was getting from Mama Gaia is, with the aid of the earth, you can work to combat ailments. And a lot of people think that we need medications, which, like I said, this is not me telling people who are on medications who seriously need them to stop taking them. This is just me saying that there are some different approaches besides taking medicine, which I won't even get into how I feel about that subject in general. I'm not against it, but I do feel that there's a lot of medicine pumped out that doesn't need to be. It's not good for bodies. It's has a lot of long-term side effects. Like, you see those commercials talking about like the scary list of side effects, and it kind of defeats the purpose of you even taking them. But that's another story, okay? I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a spiritual girl learning, trying to teach the world. So the example I want to bring to you guys is one that was brought to my attention when I spoke with a doctor by the name of Dr. Julius, which I highly recommend. He's wonderful. That being said, we're going to talk a little bit about how certain emotions can affect our organs and how that can actually manifest as physical symptoms, physical ailments. So I'll give one so it's a little bit easier to digest, because for me, when I have a bunch of examples, it's kind of like, but when I have one to kind of look at, it's easier. So we'll stick with the one. So let's talk about grief, because that was my thing. There was a lot of times where I was going through grief, and grief heavily affects the heart and the lungs. And that grief can also manifest in physical symptoms. Things like cardiovascular issues, the immune system issues, digestive issues can all be a result of the heart and lungs being affected by grief. But when we go to a doctor, we don't normally focus on like, oh, okay, what traumatic events have you been through in your life? Or do you understand what I'm saying? We go there, we get our temperature checked, we get our vitals. It's more so like the black and white of it. And that's why I said I'm hoping that we're moving more so into kind of intertwining the two, because I do think that it helps. I think that it would be able to give a different perspective. And the last thing I'll say, the download that it came to me as is it's negative energy being stored in places that needs to be released. And when it's not released, it causes that energy to be pent up, and it just kind of stores itself there. And then that's how those physical ailments come into play. Now, like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm still learning, and I'm kind of teaching you guys as I'm learning myself. But I do feel like this was something that Mama Gaia and the ancestors wanted me to bring to the collective. So here we are. I also do just want to reiterate the fact that, as I said, I'm not telling anybody who's on any type of medication. I'm someone who's been diagnosed with, something where they need to take medicine. This is not me telling you to stop. This is me just kind of sharing my perspective in regards to Western versus Eastern medicines, and my hopes that we can kind of intertwine the two, because I think that that would bring a lot of, a lot of good insight. Not everyone agrees, and that's fine. And as I said, I'm not against medicine. I definitely think I'm against certain medicines with the side effects and things, but I do think that having like medication in tandem with certain spiritual practices as well can help. But as I said, that's a totally different conversation. Not really that different, but another conversation for another day. So, love y'all. And one last thing that I want to say is that if you pay attention to how certain vegetables look, they literally look like what they benefit, the organs that they benefit. And I'm going to give you some examples. So for instance, let's say you have a carrot. If you slice a carrot in half, it looks like an eye. Well, maybe that's because carrots support eye health. Have you ever noticed how walnuts look like a brain? It's because they support brain function. And the last one I will leave y'all with is avocado. It looks like the shape of a uterus, right? It contains folic acid and is extremely beneficial to reproductive health. It is even found to reduce the risk of cervical dysplasia, I think it is called, which is a precancerous condition. Just something to keep in mind. All right, now I love y'all.